We're back to Neil Haley Show here on the Total Celebrity segment. I'm excited to welcome from NBC's American Auto, Anna Gasteyer. Anna, thanks for stopping by. How are you?
It's great to be here.
All right, so let's kind of jump into this show, and specifically enough the new time slot, but I want to go more into the premise of the show and your role in the show. And then I want to talk about being the CEO. I'll ask some CEO questions in preparation for being that CEO. Okay?
Very fancy.
Okay.
Sorry, did you ask a question?
Yeah, I asked a question. I said, tell about being a CEO and tell me a little bit about being the CEO and stuff. So first about the premise of the show. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, so the premise of the show, American Auto, it's set in the American automotive workplace. It's a major American car corporation, maybe in a little bit of a floundering phase, and they bring in a new fancy CEO to spiff things up. That's who I play, Catherine Hastings, and she comes from extensive CEO background, but not from automotive or mechanical background. She comes from pharmaceuticals. So brings a little bit of her pharma swagger to the car industry. It's not always a great fit.
Yeah, and that's the key thing is that you go from one industry to the other. It's a big learning curve. And your character didn't like that learning curve, did they? That learning curve.
I wouldn't say that she doesn't like it. I don't think she cares that much. She's more interested in running the company and maintaining her own stock options. And so she needs about 5 years to get there. But as far as like picking up the details, not that interested.
Not that interested. And that's important as a CEO to be able to pick up those interests, because you have to understand how that run that company. So her success before, was it more on hard work, or was it more on just basically having experience? What would you say her role before when she was a pharmaceutical to go into this role?
I mean, I think she was probably really good at running a company, and at managing human beings, but not necessarily worrying about her product.
Yes. So the cool thing about American autos, think about the American auto industry. What did you learn in this process of being on the show about the American auto industry and stuff that you did not know before?
Well, again, I mean, I learned or continue to learn that these are just massive cruise ships, with enormous impact, and there are a million fires to put out all the time. The premise of a workplace comedy is that the value system of the company isn't always allied with the value system of the individuals working there. And so that's what the premise of American Auto is. How do you keep the company's bottom line in mind at the same time as covering your own ass and maybe making sure that your personal needs are being met and or value system is being represented. And that's really, it's a very 2021 show. I think it kind of asks a lot of questions of how corporate America is trying to contend with a changing American culture and kind of how Americans are pretty bad at being good. I think that's really what the show is about. I think it's about trying to do the right thing, but at the same time cover your own ass
and keep employees happy. Right? Even though this is a comedy,
yeah.
Keeping employees happy, because the Great Reset has really changed the work mindset of people staying in a specific job for a long period of time or not working at all and going on and working for themselves. So we're really seeing an interesting thing. So people that are workers, just like everyone loves Superstore, and we know there's the creator of Superstore, that they can really equate and think about and really look at themselves as a worker and say, oh my gosh, I got to laugh for this half-hour episode and really kind of understand the work ethic and say, I too do this every day. And I too have these conversations. And it's interesting to see what the CEO really thinks. So you're taking the comedy end of of basically being undercover boss and figuring all that out. And you figure out in the auto industry, it's not the same thing. The way you program things, the way you create systems, you really need your cast of leaders in your boardroom to really figure things out. So you take it from the boardroom and also inside, seeing the workers' stance of it too, correct? In this comedy?
Yeah, it's exactly as you just said. It goes there's a lot of people to keep happy. There's your shareholders, your boardroom, and then there's your factory floor, and then there's your design elements. There's supply chain issues. There's advertising and marketing concerns. I mean, the show definitely circles all of those issues at the same time as, you know, staying within the realm of just good old fashioned, like I said, people who aren't all that much like one another, trying to communicate and get through their workday.
Exactly. And that's the challenge, because we're going to work every day with dealing with a pandemic, dealing with different issues at home, and all these things go into place. And it's not hard. So it's hard to work. It's hard to work a job, especially if it's monotonous every day. At least your job as CEO or as an actor in real life is a fun job. The other jobs, you know, we really have to thank these people that are out there, our frontline workers, and putting that effort in every day with the challenges that they have to meet. And that's a great way that the show honors that in so many ways.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's nice to see that.
Yeah, I definitely do see that, Anna. And then the other thing I wanted to touch base before I let you go is specifically how many moving parts there are for a CEO. It's amazing to see, right, from what you've learned, and see that how they have to do so many different things to keep things running at the optimal level. It really gives you an understanding of what CEOs do every day.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? I think it's kind of an it's like my husband says, all good CEOs basically have ADD. They're really good at like moving quickly and not going or drilling too deep. My husband works in marketing. There's a speed to which they're making decisions, and then they're done. They don't spend, and I kind of admire it in a way, because I like to drill down and know about things. And Catherine certainly can't. She doesn't have time. She's too busy. You know, again, it's not really a study of CEOs or the American workplace so specifically, but it is all television, you know, fun television is a reflection of, like you said, these kind of moral conflicts that we're facing in real time.
And you make it funny. That's the important thing. And everyone in the cast makes it funny. So everyone needs to tune in. New time slot again tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern. And I appreciate you coming by, Anna, and best of luck with the
pleasure.
show. And thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you so much. Enjoy.
You too. All right. Bye-bye. You're listening and watching The Neil Haley Show, and we'll be back in just a moment.